Sponsored by Bet365.
Round 8 of Super Rugby upon us here at Rugby.com.au. It's our favourite time of the week. We get Tuck's Tips with Matt Dunning.
Thanks for having me, favourite. You mustn't have much else going on in the week.
Mate, it's always a good time to have you in the studio here to run through the Super Rugby weekend. Tough week in Australian rugby, mate. Plenty going on.
Plenty going on. So obviously the news, Western Force or Rebels to be chopped, as they're calling it. It's not great news, but it's one that looks like it's going to happen. So we've got to get on board and move on. Easter
weekend, of course. We only got a couple of games this weekend. Let's get straight into it. It's the Reds taking on the Kings, Suncorp Stadium Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, look, the Reds. What can you say about their season? They have been really, really poor. I really touted them to be one of the better teams in the conference, to be right up there, but they're really struggling. The second half against the Brumbies was as bad as they've played this year. Although the Brumbies were good, that wasn't good enough. Obviously, hopefully they can lift this week for George Smith playing his 150th Super Rugby game. That's incredible. It's great to see George. He's been a stalwart of Australian rugby and one of the great guys to play with.
Quade Cooper, of course, back from his 3-game suspension, mate. That might be a lifter for the Reds.
Yeah, Quade will be back. He'll definitely add a lot to attack, but their defence needs a lot of work too. So Quade will have to dig in and put a few shoulders on. But mate, they've got to lift things. And Karevi, captain, I think that's his first go at captain. It'll be interesting to see how young Karevi goes at captain.
And we've also seen the Wallabies captain Stephen Moore being rested for this weekend against the Kings, who of course are playing for their future.
Yeah, look, rested. I hope it's only rested. He's too good a player to be dropped or having no dramas with Stylesy, but hopefully they're resting him. He's at that age too, I think, where it's smart to rest players at that age. And the Kings, look, the Kings almost beat the Force, last week. This is their real chance to get a win on their Australasian trip, so they'll be really up for this.
Tuck, we spoke about the Kings playing for their future. No doubt the Rebels too this weekend against the Brumbies. They're on the chopping block along with the Force. They'll have plenty to play for.
Yeah, the Rebels had a really, really bad season. Their last game against the Highlanders, 51-12, I think it was. They've really been belted up, albeit they've played a lot of Kiwi sides. But no excuses this week. Got the Brumbies who are in red hot form, but they've got to lift their game. Laurie Weeks, 100th Super Rugby game, big achievement for Laurie, and hopefully the team can lift for him. And obviously the Brumbies, Kyle Godwin's out, which is a big loss for him. He's been exceptional this year. But look, they've been great this year, the Brumbies. Like a team that I was one of the doubters of the Brumbies after they lost so many star players. They wouldn't be as good this year. But look, they've proved me wrong and a lot of other people wrong. They've been outstanding at parts this year. Although be it the Australian Conference hasn't been too tough, they are still playing some good football. And that second half against the Reds was exceptional. We'll be interested to see how they go. Some really good performances this year have been Rory Arnold, really impressed with him. Alcock has been, yet again, he's been outstanding. And look, I know Seven's a tough position and it's very competitive, but he'd be mentioned in Wallabies discussions this early in the year. And obviously Henry Spate, I thought he was exceptional too last week.
Tuck 5 from 7 last week, mate. Just another 7-game round this one. Let's try and go for the perfect round.
So you can go. Sunwolves after their great win last week will lose to the Crusaders. Reds to just beat the Kings, hope so. Blues to lose to Hurricanes. Brumbies to beat the Rebels. Chiefs to come back strong and beat the Cheetahs. Stormers just to win over Lions. And the Jaguars to beat the Bulls.
I reckon you're pretty close on the money there, Tuck, mate, but the Reds definitely need that win over the Kings this weekend, plus the Bulls and the Jaguars could be 50-50.
I hope you haven't given me the kiss of death there, Marty, but no, look, Jaguars at Loftus will be a tight one. The Bulls will want to bounce back from last week losing to Sunwolves. Their pride's on the line, but only one win this year. I think the Jaguars are playing well.
Plenty of footy on the Easter weekend coming up. Only the 2 Aussie conference games. We'll have those streamed live on our radio broadcast at Rugby.com.au. Gordon Bray in again. Remember, if you are going to have a bet at all this weekend, do so responsibly.